talking about today, Paul?
We're celebrating summer.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we've got a big cooler right here with a bunch of bottles in it. And the cooler is well latched. So I think throughout this entire segment, we'll pull bottles out of the cooler and see what we find inside. And what's this first one we're going to be trying?
So the first one we're trying is the Folonari Prosecco Extra Dry.
Right.
Okay, so Folonari is the name of the company.
Okay.
Okay. Prosecco is the style of wine, which is very. Is it going to blow? Which is.
The thing is, will I take out a light?
Better than an eyeball.
Yep.
Hey, there she goes. So Prosecco is a style of wine.
Right.
A sparkling wine, I should say.
Which glass can I fill you up with?
There we go. Thank you, sir. Which is very, very popular all across Italy and the world. It's one of the most popular sparkling wine styles that is out there. Now, the one that we have is about $19.95. It's a bit more pricey than the average.
Okay.
So it can be.
Because that doesn't sound expensive.
Well, usually Proseccos hover around the $14, $15 range.
Right. Which is why we like them.
Yeah, and the advantage of Prosecco too is because of their price, they're fantastic on their own. Don't get me wrong. But for those people out there like myself who enjoy a mimosa in the morning, Proseccos
in the morning.
Every morning.
Yeah, okay.
Proseccos are one of the best styles of wine to use. Now I'm going to give you a little trick, give everybody a little trick out there.
Right.
Most people go half and half. Okay, so they pour half Prosecco and then half orange juice.
For their mimosas.
Yeah. My recommendation is going 3/4 of the glass of Prosecco.
Okay.
Okay. And then put some orange juice in it, but have some mango juice on the side. Top it up with mango juice, give it a light stir. Now, the reason for the mango cuts down on the acidity of the orange juice, so it's a little bit smoother.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And I think, especially when you're talking about a Prosecco with a mimosa, which is probably a $12 bottle already, it's not like orange juice is a cheap thing.
No.
Either when you buy orange juice. So I think by going heavy on the Prosecco, you're not...
I can only afford to put Tang in the bottle. So
that's a different segment entirely. We'll do that one next. All right, so on this Prosecco, what do you get when you
very
nose it?
melony, like lots of honeydew melon in that, watermelon. There's a citrusy aspect to it, and there's a faint hazelnut as well.
Right.
On the palate.
And do you find is this a typical Prosecco? Is this a classic Prosecco? Because
very much so.
A lot of maybe it's just I'm used to the cheaper ones. The cheaper ones seem sweeter than what this is.
Yeah. Now this is extra dry.
Okay.
And Proseccos are available from extra dry all the way to very sweet. The tendency in the past was to go, as you mentioned, a little bit more to the off dry, but more and more.
Off dry means sweet?
Sweet, yeah.
Why not just say sweet?
Now, people now are really looking at the sugar counts on their wines and their sparklers. So this is definitely the more favored style right now. And to me, I think I like it better, and I find it's much more food friendly.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot easier to pair when it's a little bit on the drier side.
Right, for sure. Yeah. And what's a good food to have with this one?
I think I'd like to try it with the cheeses that you brought. Now, you got two.
So we have a mix of celebrating summer. So we have some Ruffles potato chips, 2 types of Pringles, some cheese, and some crackers. And that particular cheese is the Bergeron Classique, so it's one that's always on sale, which is why we're having it.
Now the Prosecco are usually light to medium bodied, but they've got a really nice mousse to it, so fizziness, great acidity, and it should be very refreshing on the palate, which this is. Now I found the cheese on its own very creamy, which is delicious. I found that the Prosecco cut right through the cheese, and the cheese came back. The Prosecco...
In a good way.
Yeah, in a very good way.
Okay.
Cheese coming back isn't always...
No. Maybe after some mimosas.
Yeah, moving forward. But the Prosecco cleansed the palate. the cheese came back, and the two sort of balanced each other out. I like this pairing. I like it.
It's
I like
really
it.
good.
Yeah.
And there's a weird tanginess in my mouth, like almost like biting on my tongue.
Yeah,
when I go back to the Prosecco after the cheese.
The acidity.
That's what that is.
Yeah, the acidity is very, very high. They use indigenous grape varieties generally to make Proseccos, and they're very high in acid.
Right.
Lately, they've been starting to use things like Chardonnay in the mix of the wine, which Chardonnay is a classic grape variety to make champagne.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a grape variety that offers a lot of fruit, but also, again, offers a lot of great acidity.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. That's the first one, the Folonari Prosecco. What's our next wine, Paul?
So the next one is
Reach into the box.
Yay! Rose Hall Run Vineyards. The Ceremony Blanc de Blanc.
Right.
That's a mouthful right there. Another couple of glasses, I will not be able to say that. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
So Rose Hall Run, I'm very, very happy to say, is owned by a really good friend of Dave and I by the name of Dan Sullivan.
Yep.
We've actually been to his winery a couple of times. Had a great time there. There's nothing more better than drinking right out of a barrel. That's, from what I remember, I think we had a lot of fun.
Wine is better
that
fresh?
day.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So Dan makes all kinds of different styles of wine. This is his hand at making a sparkling wine. Whoa.
That came out really quick.
Very nice. And this is his touch of doing a sparkling style wine.
Right.
He's using 100% Chardonnay. Thank you very much. Right from Prince Edward County.
Okay.
All right, so right in our own backyards here. This is the style that is very, very similar to champagne, but much cheaper. So it's $39 a bottle. It's a 2017.
So this is a bottle, to tell a little bit of the history of it. Yeah, I just did that same thing. Where we had planned to use this bottle in a segment literally years ago.
Yep.
And it has been sitting in my laundry room in a cardboard box.
Where all good wine is, right?
For several years. So this was bottled in 2017. This is a 6-year-old wine.
Wow.
And I have to admit, I've been really curious on if it's any good or not. And
Spectacular. Honestly.
my laundry room's a good place to store
Yeah,
it.
so from now on, if you want to rent space out in Dave's laundry room, there'll be a number at the bottom of your screen after this is all over. So this is about as quintessential as you're going to get when you're comparing it to a Grand Cru champagne. So Grand Cru champagnes are champagnes that are aged longer at the cellar before they're offered for buying. This one here has got all the characteristics. So it's got sort of, I'm going to say, an overripe Macintosh apple nose to it.
This is unusual. I've never tasted this.
Very nutty. So
Very nutty.
Yeah, that's the oxidization. So that's showing the age. And the longer that goes on, the more nutty the wine's going to become. And that's normal. That's just the way it transforms itself. It's a living organism. So that's what happens to it.
Yeah.
Very rich on the palate. It's retained a lot of great acidity, and I think, wow, I mean, holy geez, I can't say enough about this. This is fantastic.
It's the nuttiness that I'm really surprised by, because I would almost have thought something's wrong with this and how nutty it is.
A lot of people would.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? They would.
yeah.
They would have that feeling. That's that classic thing in the restaurant where you taste the wine and you say, no, this has all gone nutty. It must be wrong, but this is the way it's supposed to taste.
Well, I think I told you the story that when I was working at a winery, and we had people were buying wines and all kinds of stuff, we're bringing them back and forth. Anyway, long story short, we got a phone call, and a gentleman had a bottle. It was a 20-year-old bottle of Dom Perignon that he'd been keeping in his cellar forever. Well, when he went to open it up and take it, the cork had gone all black, and he wanted to return it. So we had to oblige. We said, yes, of course, bring it back. Gave him his money back. But we all knew there was nothing wrong with that wine.
Just was a black cork,
Yeah, so
really dark
the
black
cork had oxidized, which happens because of the bubbles, the CO2 that's trapped inside.
Okay.
So we took the bottle and we hid it in the office.
Oh, good.
And we poured glasses for the people that were working, and we kept going at it all day long. And it retained its bubbles, it retained its body, it retained everything. It was so good, so fantastic. But to someone that would have tried that product not knowing, they would have said, oh, well, the cork, there's something wrong. No, that's what naturally happens.
What naturally happens.
Yeah.
Okay, what food would you put with this Rose Hall Run?
Lobster bisque.
Lobster bisque.
But for us,
Yeah, this is a picnic.
this is a picnic.
So maybe you've got lobster bisque on your picnic, but
Why don't we try the cheddar Pringles?
cheddar Pringles.
Let's try the cheddar Pringles.
Which is sort of lobster bisque, I guess. And, it's sort of got that cheddar flavor to it.
On a budget.
On a budget. And cheddar Pringles is, hard to go wrong. Now the question just becomes, what exactly will cheddar Pringles do to rather expensive bubbly?
Got rid of the nuttiness. Got rid of the nuttiness for me. And brought out more of sort of that green apple crispness, that lemon lime that you're looking for, right?
Yeah, this became Sprite.
Sorry, Dan.
What is it? It was a bad thing, but not Mountain Dew, not 7-Up, but Sprite. Very
Changed the profile.
100% entirely. 100%.
So that goes back to what we talk about all the time. When you're doing wine and food pairings, a wine on their own, you should try a wine, whether it's a white, red, sparkling, on its own first.
Yeah.
Try it. Analyze it if you want to. Drink it just for the sake of drinking, whatever.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, no matter what you pair against it, the food profile and the wine profile are going to change.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the way it goes. And the magic to this is, first of all, the fun part is in the trying, obviously. The second part is, especially when you're a bigger group of people, it's to watch around the table how it reacts to different people, because everybody has different senses and sensibilities. And some people get a great reaction, other people don't.
Right.
I liked it, I didn't like it, I liked it better on its own, I liked it with the food. So it turns it into a real conversation piece.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and, love to have another glass of this. So we do have to say you can't buy this at any other place than Rose Hall Run. And even then, they might not even sell this anymore. But a good example of what fun you can have with some of these wines.
Dan's also got a wide variety of red, white, rosés, and he makes other sparklers as well. One of his most famous ones is called Pixie, and it's a sparkling rosé. So if you've got for example, a summertime fresh fruit platter that you can pick up at the local grocery store and bring it up to the cottage with you or something like that, we've done it a million times. That Pixie, fantastic.
Is that the one that's on cans?
It does come in cans?
Yeah, you can actually get it in cans. And so talk about picnic, that's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like another glass, but I know the crew all wants to drink this one. So we'll put this one, hand these
You're
to you,
going to
Paul.
actually leave it with me?
No, I'm going to ask you to slide them down to the end there
Okay.
so we can make some more room on the table.
All right.
And see if it magically disappears before the end of this segment. And we'll go back into our picnic box. And we've got a rosé for the next one. What's this one?
Rosés, let's just start the discussion this way.
Okay. Well, we better slide your glasses now.
Yep. Rosés are good to drink year-round. They're not only produced in the summertime,
Right.
and they're not only to be enjoyed in the summertime. They're a fantastic wine for wine and food pairings. They're available year-round, and it's probably one of the biggest growing wine categories that's out there right now.
Okay.
The portfolio is almost doubled in size over the last 5 to 10 years, and it's only growing.
Right.
Now, another misconception of rosé, so we'll get that out of the way too. you see a wine that's salmon color, pink
It's
color,
pink. It's
whatever
pink.
you want to call it.
That's salmon. That's pink.
Trying to class up
I
yourself,
like it,
Dave.
fair
Come on. Got Pringles for guts. One thing when people look at the wine, they look at the wine in the bottle,
Yeah.
and they naturally assume it's going to be sweet.
Yes.
And rightfully so, because one of the biggest selling wines for the longest time was Ernest and Julio Gallo's White Zinfandel, okay? Now that's got a crazy high sugar content,
Yeah.
but people loved it. And it's still very, very, very popular now, but it's super sweet. The majority of rosés that you're going to find nowadays that are available, like this one, like the Bread and Butter, which by the way is fantastic company, A to Z, are dry. They're nice and dry.
Right.
And again,
So dry being not sweet.
yeah, so somewhere in the sugar contents of 0 to 4, 0 to 5, which is considered dry to extra dry, roughly.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, on the nose, I mean, you say it's not going to be sweet, but yet, no, there is some sweetness to this.
Oh yeah, on the nose for sure, absolutely. Strawberry. Mm-hmm. Wild raspberry.
Wild raspberry.
Wild raspberry, not a tame one, a wild raspberry.
One of those. Well, and actually, you know, I'll even give that to you because as we started to learn, those raspberries that grow wild in Ontario versus the ones you buy in the grocery store in January
Yeah.
are completely different.
Roadside raspberries.
Are much more tasty. Oh yeah, it's not wild raspberry. It should be
Roadside raspberries. We can make an album called Roadside Raspberries.
Roads.
Write
Oh, yeah,
that
I think the
down.
Tragically Hip did that, didn't it?
They might have.
All right, and when you taste it, what do you get?
Oh wow. Watermelon, for sure. Pink grapefruit. Great acidity. Really well balanced. Dry, but not extra. I don't find it extra dry.
No.
I still find that there's some red fruit that's still coming up, like Bing cherry. Very palate cleansing. Very nice. Yeah, I'm liking this. Yeah.
I'm thinking this is one of these wines that needs to be, cold. It needs to be in that ice bucket.
Yeah.
We're talking about a picnic, so you need to bring a little ice bucket, pull that
Or
out of the
keep
ice
putting
bucket.
it back and forth in the cooler.
Back in the trusty cooler. I want to pair this, oddly, with turkey in the worst way.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. No,
That's what I am tasting. There's like a cranberry-ness to this.
When I was working on the retail end of it,
Yeah.
and a lot of the customers coming in, especially at Thanksgiving, that we're not buying wines throughout the year, but special occasions, they would come in. And one of the top recommendations, like everybody thinks, oh, I should go for turkey, Chardonnay or a Riesling,
Right.
a little sweeter Riesling. No, we were always recommending rosés. No, go with the dry rosé.
Like
and
a
people were like,
turkey sandwich, like that lunch meat, that deli lunch meat turkey.
And fantastic with the stuffing. If you're going with the traditional sort of sage stuffing,
Yeah.
it actually, the spices that are inside of the stuffing actually bring out more fruit, more red fruit in the
okay.
rosé.
Right,
so it
right.
makes it very, very pleasant.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. We don't have turkey. We don't have sage stuffing. What are you thinking for the pairing for this one in our picnic?
I would go with, honestly, I'd like to try it with that creamier cheese to see what happens. And I'd also like to try it with the cheddar. So I'd go cheese on this one.
Yeah. You're not thinking more Pringles for that one?
Yeah, the Buffalo.
The Buffalo Ranch
Buffalo,
Pringles.
yeah.
So that's more or less chicken wings.
Chicken wings and rosé are fantastic together. I do it all the time.
That just sounds like the ultimate, household compromise.
Yeah.
I'd like rosé. I'd like chicken wings. Well, we'll have.
I
them
like
together.
red. I like white. Let's combine them. Rosé. There you go.
Rosé. Yeah.
The Switzerland of wine. The compromising wine. And another thing too. Now that I'm just thinking about it here, is you got to be very, very careful with these wines. Okay, because even though they look nice and innocent, and they don't look like they pack much of a wallop, a lot of these wines, rosés, can get up to 14 and 15% in alcohol, which is the equivalent to a full-bodied red. So if you're baking out in the sun, just a little heads up there. Keep your floaties on.
I have to say, though, chicken wings and rosé.
Buffalo wings.
Buffalo wings. Right. So buffalo wings, hot sauce and butter. There's a lot of butter in buffalo wings. Yeah. And that's the buffalo part is.
I love trying rosés with jerk wings. If you can find them at a wing place, you usually make great jerk wings because of the spices and everything that's in it. Fantastic.
Right. Cool. All right. Back to the cooler we go. And it's time to move on to a good old white. Good old-fashioned white. And what's this one, Paul?
This one is...
Oh, pass. And put this one down. Into the crew zone, we'll call that.
Crew zone.
Yeah. Nobody's...
that.
The cruise.
So this is the Jaffelin, which is the producer.
Yep.
Bourgogne, which is the region, and Aligote, which is actually the grape variety. Now, Bourgogne, or Burgundy, is actually really, really well known for their top-end Chardonnays.
Right.
Some of the most expensive Chardonnays in the world are produced in this small region in France. Aligote is sort of a poor man Chardonnay. It's sort of a secondary grape that wineries plant, that they make more village-style wines. This particular one is actually a grade above that. It's actually an AOC wine, which means that's kind of the equivalent of a VQA style of wine. So it actually has to conform to a lot more strict rules in order to be produced.
Right. So Aligote, that's a grape I've never heard of before.
Most people haven't.
Yeah, we talk about, the Chardonnays, the Cab Sauves, the Sauvignon Blancs, the Pinot whatevers, but Aligote is a new one on me.
Yeah, and that's why unless you're in the know as a wine drinker, if you saw that on a shelf 9 times out of 10, you'd probably pass right by it and not even give it a second look because it would mean nothing to you.
No. Same with the producer, Jaffelin, like the Jaffelin? There's a whole lot of words here that are very brand new. So it passes the sniff test, apparently. Now, you called this a poor man Chardonnay, but it's at least in Ontario, it's a $22 bottle.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's an expensive Chardonnay.
Taxes.
Oh, okay.
We won't even go there.
Right, okay, fine.
Okay.
So what do you got?
So on this, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I got a diesel-y, sort of a petrol nose to it.
Yep. Which is interesting because we actually pre-drank this one a little bit, and I didn't get the diesel before, but the diesel is definitely
It's there now. Well, but aside from that, there is apple to it, pear. There is some nuttiness, so again, a sort of a roasted hazelnut.
A little vanilla.
More on the palate.
Yeah.
I found.
Maybe that's why I drank a little ahead of you. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm used to it. It's very round. Very, very round. So this wine has obviously had some barrel aging to it to soften it up a little bit.
Right.
But still a nice acidity to it. I'm liking that. I'm really, really liking that. I think the
pairing with this one is,
what did we pair it with?
well, you're reaching for it.
I'm going to try the Ruffles.
So these are the classic Ruffles chips, not flavored in any way. Now, we did want to mention as we go through this, classic Ruffles is a classic wine pairing. It's the ridges, it's the thick cut. It's not the flavored, it's not even different brands of rippled chips. It's Ruffles, for whatever reason, works well with wine.
So they did tests on them to figure out why certain chips interacted certain ways, especially with sparkling wines too. It's the oils, the vegetable oils that they use. They have a chemical reaction that actually changes the profile of the wine.
Yeah, once again, that wine tastes completely different. I had one stupid Ruffles potato chip. The diesel's gone. The vanilla's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's very smooth. It's almost honey.
Now, if I had a bottle of this out camping, this would be fantastic with fresh caught fish, lake trout, that type of thing, just done over the campfire with butter and maybe a little splash of wine on top of it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, I have a regular camping trip with a bunch of buddies and fishing trip, and definitely the highlight is fresh caught fish.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Lightly deep fried.
yeah.
You know, just lightly battered, lightly deep fried, and there's nothing better,
Oh, no.
really. So, might be this wine.
This might
boys
be a
can.
good discovery wine for people that are looking to try something a little bit new, that are more traditional Chardonnay drinkers that like the French style of Chardonnay.
Yep.
I'd recommend giving this a try. I think you'll be very, very happy and very satisfied with this wine.
Excellent. All right, Paul, if you want to put that one down in the crew zone.
Nope.
Yeah, it'll get drank before we all leave here today. Don't anybody worry. We're not going home leaving wines behind. And we got one left. What's our last one?
Our last one is the Two Hands Gnarly Dudes Shiraz.
Right? So we're going with a big red finish.
Big red finish.
And that is certainly...
Isn't that your stripper name?
certainly what this looks like. And it's called Two Hands, too, so, you know.
Do the math.
Hi, Mom. All right, so Paul, what do you get on the nose on this one?
Wow, just jammy fruit.
Yeah, very jammy.
Very jammy. Very, very jammy. fruit.
And I would say unusually jammy for us, because there's that certain business when you try some of these wines, and it's just so ridiculously sweet that it's a little hard to handle.
Yeah, they give a smoky description to that. I'm not smelling smoke off this wine, at
No,
least not yet.
no, this smells like roadside raspberry jam.
Oh, wow.
It does not taste like roadside raspberry jam.
I got a lot of black licorice, red licorice, more of a blackberry fruit. Blackberry, you know, kind of a blueberry, more blueberry pie kind of thing.
I think like a dark bitter chocolate,
Dark bitter chocolate, yeah.
especially later as it sort of sits there and
Yeah.
mellows out.
I like it.
It's classic Shiraz. I think many times like a true Shiraz seems to be sort of odd. Like you normally see it mixed with something.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of times, believe it or not, Shiraz is actually mixed with a white grape variety called Viognier.
Right.
To give it more floral aspect, to give it more more dimension to the wine.
Yeah.
I think this wine here, it's just screaming barbecued food, like big time, like really overly glazed and marinated ribs and pork chops and you name it, steaks. And, you know, just a real sort of caveman
Right.
grilled meat fiesta.
Fiesta.
We're gonna try it with buffalo.
Buffalo?
Yeah,
We
and-
also have the black pepper crackers.
Oh, and the
Yeah.
black pepper crackers, yeah. Yeah,
Now-
so let's try that.
Okay, so black pepper crackers, which I suppose when we think about what a steak would be, I mean, this is sea salt black pepper crackers. You see the same sort of thing with chips too. Like, it's not that far from what we would think of a steak.
No, and I bet you once you take a bite of that and then try your wine again, I can just about guarantee you that smoky, peppery characteristic that they say is in the wine, it's going to start to come out.
Oh,
And
now
and-
it's smoky.
Yeah, and see, and then that's there.
Yeah.
So if you're doing charred meats like we were just talking about,
Talk about the summer of 2023.
Yeah.
It's smoky.
there you go. So yeah, anytime you've got charred meat and you want to bring out that smoky, peppery characteristic in a wine, that's what's going to do it.
Excellent. All right, Paul. So 5 good wines here. And we certainly paired it with literally some of the easiest foods possible.
Yeah,
Nothing very complicated at all.
you're at the cottage.
You're at the cottage.
It happens.
Sometimes you don't even make it to the cottage. Sometimes you get as far as, the patio, or sometimes as far as the couch with the window open. But, a lot of times it's summer and we talk about how things just being a little bit easier
Yep.
is not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. We found some great pairings with this. I thought the wines, by and large, were excellent. The Rose Hall Run was a real adventure. I really enjoyed that.
Right.
Yeah, so go out, try them, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
All right, there you go. We are celebrating summer with Paul Carrier. I'm David Schellenberg. This has been Paul's Pick.